Hey, Yinz guys and gals, gather round for a journey like no other. It's time to hop on board the Where Yinz Goin podcast, proudly brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. From the rivers that meet at the point to form downtown Pittsburgh to the furthest corners of the globe, that'll be your compass, your confidant, your companion in that as we explore the wonders of travel. Kick back, relax on your couch, and let the wanderlust wash over you as we discover new horizons and reminisce about old favorites. With Dreams by Design Travel by our side, the sky's the limit. Join Matt on the Where Yinz Goin podcast because when it comes to travel, the journey's just getting started. And now, without further ado, let's give a shout for your guide through the highways and byways of travel, the man with a map, the voice of the steel city, Matt Trader.
How Yinz doing? Welcome to the Where Yinz Goin podcast brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. I'm Matt. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me again today is my co-host, Katie. Welcome back to the podcast, Katie.
Hi, Matt. I am so excited to talk water parks today because, believe it or not, it has been snowing in good old Utah. And so the need for like a tropical getaway or at least some warm waters is very much on the top of my mind today.
Yeah, I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia, and we're supposed to get snow. Well, as we're recording this, snow's coming. So it's there's a it's where West Virginia University is located, so it's a big college town, and we have students panicking because we're doing this right before Thanksgiving break, and like, I have to leave early. It's going to have a snowstorm. It's like, no, they're really calling just not too much, maybe an inch or two. So
I wish I could be like, think that snow was novel. I live in like a state of denial every year that it's coming, and I'm not okay. In fact, every once in a while, my husband will laugh at me because I quote Game of Thrones and say, winter is coming. And he's like, it's August. And I'm like, yeah, but it is. It's coming. I can feel it. It's coming. And I'm not happy about it.
I went to college in Erie, Pennsylvania, where they measure snow in feet, not inches.
Yes.
So the one nice thing is in Erie, there is no jaywalking at all during the winter, mainly because they just plow the snow on the sidewalk from the sidewalks and the roads. And there's like a 4-foot mound between the sidewalk and the road. And then they just plow out right around the crosswalks. So you have to cross at the crosswalks.
So when I was a little girl, my elementary school sat across the street from a big city park, and they would plow the roads and they would pile up the snowbanks, and they would get as tall that around the end of January, they would get on the announcements every morning and say you couldn't climb to the top of the snowbanks because there was a chance that you were too close to the power lines. That's how much snow we would get. I remember like really vividly as a little girl. One winter, I grew up at the base of a ski resort. One winter we got enough snow that instead of sledding down the hills, we slid down our roof, and there was enough snow that it was like a really great, that was a, yeah. You would think I would like snow more, but I don't.
You've had your fill of it. Yeah.
That's right.
You have bets like whenever they start piling up those big piles of how long will it last until into the spring whenever it finally melts.
Yep. Yep.
So
That's why you need travel advisors though, because that's what we can do for you is we can go ahead and chase those winter blues away. And I am so excited to be talking about these water parks tonight because I think that this is going to be a big deal for 2025 and all of our guests that are traveling to Walt Disney World Resort.
and that is one of the reasons why we normally go to Disney right before Christmas, but this was part of the reason why we went after New Year's because one, it gets us away from the cold and snow in the winter, but two, anybody who's staying at one of the Walt Disney World Resort hotels in 2025 on their arrival day will get free admission to the water parks. And now in the winter, it might just be one of them. They're not always open. They close one of them for refurbishment, but free admission on your day of arrival at the water parks. So take the early flight.
That's right. Take the early flight, pack that suitcase, pack that little your swimsuit and your all of your goods and needs for the water park, pack that in a really easy to get to bag, check your luggage, and then just head off into the water park and enjoy a fun-filled afternoon. I promise you that once you go to one of Disney's water parks, you will want to go back like time and time again. They're kind of like a little hidden gem.
Yeah, everyone focuses on the four main parks, the theme parks, but the water parks sometimes get lost in the shuffle there. But we actually arranged our trip to go down a few days earlier so that on our day of arrival at our Disney hotel, we can be there bright and early and get into the water parks as soon as we can, and then, enjoy that all day.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, especially with my little girl who is part fish. So,
Yes. Yes, I have one of those. Then you're pretty soon
yes.
you'll find yourself on the driving end of a high school swim team where you feel like that's your full-time job. So
Yeah, it's either that or gymnastics that she loves doing that too. So either way, we're
she could
doing.
be on the dive team.
So you're trying to curse me with that. Got it.
I'm just making plans for you, how you're going to spend your Saturdays, Sundays, and 4 days a week. And then
Well,
you're,
as we've talked on this podcast before, let's go for the Olympics, right?
that's right. That's right.
So we're going to start off with Disney's Typhoon Lagoon Water Park. It opened on June 1st, 1989. So the backstory for this is that a storm hit Blustery Bay and it tossed ships from the sea and scattered debris and treasure all over the place. The shrimping boat Miss Tilly was impaled atop Mount Mayday, which now erupts with a 50-foot spout of water every 30 minutes. And it's right before the bells of the watch. So if you are at the park and you don't have your watch on you, or you don't have your phone, then you can always tell the time and how long you've been somewhere or whatever by the spout of Miss Tilly. So it's a great way to, hey, all right, next time it spouts, we're going to meet here. So it's a great way to time things out that you can meet your uh, rest of your family or friends if you ever get separated. So at Typhoon Lagoon, they have a wave pool, which we'll get into. It is the largest in the United States. It's one of the largest in the world, and it is the most visited water park in the world. Uh, we'll get to the wave pool. It's about 3 acres big. This past summer, we were in Kuala Lumpur on the way back from seeing my wife's family in Indonesia, and we went to Sunway Lagoon. And, it's the largest water park in Malaysia, and it's the wave pool itself was 5 acres.
Wow.
So my little girl loved that. Even when we got hit by it, so we went onto the wave pool, and they were coming in pretty big. I think they were top out of like 8, 9 feet tall for the waves, and we kind of riding the wave and jumping up, and we got hit with one pretty hard right when it was breaking, and she loved it though. She's like, "Let's do it again, Daddy." At one point, I had a hat on that got knocked off, and she like grabbed it out of midair as it was flying past her. It's like, look, I got your hat. I was like, all right.
That's so good. That's great. So the wave pool is one of my favorite things at Typhoon Lagoon. So I'm excited to talk about it.
So we first went there well, we were initially going to go there in 1991, but my one younger sister, she had bifocals, and from the hot sun and not wearing a hat, she got sun blisters under her eyes. So
Oh,
yeah, it was painful that she got this. My mom got her this big fishing hat, like this big brim out front. So it looked like Scott Smalls, the nerdy kid in the movie The Sandlot. Whenever he first goes to the baseball game, the real long bill
yes.
on it. She also had like the zinc oxide under her eyes to help protect it and everything. She was miserable for a few days, but we finally got to go in 1995 on our next trip. So, and that was amazing. So their mascot is Laguna Gator.
So
So
you
of
get your
course,
picture taken with Laguna Gator right when you first walk in. There's a great little like photo spot, and it has like some like little kitschy signs and like surfboards and everything like that. And there's a statue of Laguna Gator that you can go ahead and get your picture taken. I would recommend that if you want a picture that is postable on your social media, maybe take it while you're walking in. If you want a like this is what it really looks like to enjoy a Typhoon Lagoon, take a picture on the way out. So
and actually do both. Your before and after pictures.
yep. Yep, because it no good day at a water park means you walk out with like good hair or at least a little color on your face, a little bit of a rosy tint to you. So
They always have perfect hair, so that's fine. And for those not watching on the video simulcast, I don't have any hair. So actually, it's a little bit. I shave my head, but it's one of those George Costanza things of the hair started leaving me, so it was the preemptive breakup.
you probably wear a big brimmed hat too now, right?
Oh, I have to. After I shaved my head first, I got sunburn on my head once, and that was enough. Never again. So
Yep.
I've enough hair up there that I can't really put sunscreen on. So got to go with the hat. So let's get into the uh, Typhoon Lagoon surf pool. Oh, and actually, before we do that, the theming of Typhoon Lagoon is awesome.
It
That
is so good.
the buildings are they look somewhat dilapidated and damaged from a storm. Like there's one that has like a surfboard halfway through it sticking out. And but of course it's all just painted and everything else to look that way. It's structurally sound, so don't worry about it. Especially building inspectors, you don't have to come. But it really looks the part of a tropical island that has gone through a hurricane or a
It's really
typhoon.
it's really well done. There's tons of little like hidden Mickeys that you can find throughout the park. And there's also just little, it's one of those places that because it's a water park, people seem to be more focused on, of course, the water. And so if you're into theming, if you like little hidden gems, if you like to see what Disney can do with a theme, the water parks are a great place to discover all of the things that you kind of take for granted, but you can find the little extra things that make a whole cohesive story. And so Typhoon Lagoon has all kinds of little hidden gems everywhere that you wouldn't think of unless you're looking to find them.
So that goes with our theme of a couple of our travel tips from the past of always keep your eyes open at a Disney park or even not a Disney park, like a downtown or a Disney Springs or downtown Disney District or any of the hotels or whatever. Anytime you're in Disney on the cruise line, keep your eyes open and you'll appreciate these little details. So getting back to the surf pool, I was misspoke before. It is only 2.5 acres, only, and it holds 3 million gallons of water. Every 110 seconds, you get 6 foot waves that come, and they can also produce other types of waves. And you can actually rent out or, well, take a surfing lesson. You can get 3 hour sessions in there for up to 25 people, and you can do this either before or after the water park opens. So if you want to get your surfing on, go for it.
This is something that we can go ahead and book for you if you're interested in doing this. I think that I've talked to a couple of people that have actually experienced it, and they said that it was great in the fact that they're waves that are predictable. So, not a genuine ocean, but it gets you used to surfing. It's a great introduction thing to find out whether or not maybe when you're ready to go and visit Disney Aulani, a Disney resort and spa, and you want to go ahead and surf in Hawaii, this is a great chance to just give it a shot. Such a cool thing too. So many cool pictures and an experience like no other.
And I think we have to get a soundboard that we have Maureen from our earlier podcast that every time we talk about Alani, it's Alani, a Disney resort and spa in Ko'olina, Hawaii.
This is true. That's right.
Let's get a little button to push to have her repeat that.
So one of the things about the wave pool that is awesome too, and this makes me sound a little bit odd, is it is some of the best people watching that you will ever find anywhere. So if you're not into like being totally pummeled by the waves, go ahead and pull up a spot just right there on they have kind of a little sitting area that it's really nice because if you take your little ones there, it's shallow and they're not going to get torn apart by the pool and the waves, and then you go further out, but it is so much fun to see like the glee and the happiness and then sometimes the absolute shock of how powerful those waves are and how they knock people over. And the other thing I will say is that the lifeguards at the surf pool are they are exceptional. I've seen a lot of lifeguards and been around a lot of them. Walt Disney World employs the best of the best they watch out for people. They make sure that you're safe. They are very concerned with the fact that they understand that this is a big, massive amount of water, and they have to keep their eyes on a lot of people at the same time, and they do a really good job.
And I can't really add much to that except I second that. Okay. So, and with the people watching, there's also um, it's like the old Wide World of Sports thing that was on TV of the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. And you have the people who are absolutely loving, trying to brave the waves and get hit by them. Then someone who kind of turns their back and gets hit by one unexpectedly. And, it's that other end of it of, oh my gosh, what was that? Or
Yep.
like Katie said, they're not expecting to be quite that powerful or, so it's either way, it's good people watching. So other things that will test you a bit is Humunga Cowabunga. And there's a 48-inch minimum height on this one. It's a speed slide. It's they say nearly vertical. It's a 5-story drop into the dark. Uh, there are three of them that are side by side. It's 214 feet long. So now the whole slide isn't nearly vertical because but at least the beginning part of that, whenever you go down, you get a fairly steep one to build up a little bit of steam and get some velocity going.
That's right. Physics makes it so it's not all the way vertical the whole time.
And so we went to a bunch of water parks while we were in Indonesia and Malaysia this summer, and we did many of these different water slides, and some of them are pretty crazy. Are you a thrill seeker, Katie, when it comes to the water slides?
So when we start talking about Blizzard Beach, yes, I was a thrill seeker, and I've done all of these slides. Um, I've done them a lot of the times when I was younger. I don't know, like you turn over 40 and sometimes like your body is just like, no, I'm more of a lazy river gal. But yes, I've always said I won't say no to at least trying something once. And I've done all of these. They're all great. Like that's the thing. And here's the thing, I know this sounds kind of dumb, but my family and I last January, we went to Universal and did Volcano Bay at Universal, which is a phenomenal water park as well. So great and really good. But one of the things about Volcano Bay is that a lot of their slides have the similar names to them, or at least the like first two syllables are the same. And so, like, funny story, my husband was like, hey, we're gonna go ride this, wait for us. And I got all turned around and we wasted like 45 minutes trying to track each other down. I was like, no, I'm at this one. And he's like, well, no, you're supposed to be over here. And I'm like, they all sound the same to me. So anyways, I love the fact that with Disney's water slides, they have different names. Like they're very distinctly different names.
Yeah. So, and the next one is the Crushing Gusher, which also has a 48-inch height limit or height minimum. It's a water coaster. So you sit in little raft type thingies, and the water jets will make you go faster as you're going on. So they have three what they call fruit chutes. There's the pineapple plunger, the coconut crusher, and the banana blaster. And these are like two-person inner tubes that you're sitting in, one person in front, one person in the back. So these are fun. I'm looking. Well, we won't go into this one whenever we get down to Disney this time, but I know my little girl loved it. We did want something similar to this when over the summer, and she thought it was great.
These are so much fun. They like so it you've got to do all three though, because you've got to have like
Hmm.
a comparison and see which one is like your favorite, because they all have kind of like a slightly different feel to them and
Flavor.
stuff like that. And yeah, and so it's kind of fun to like experience all three of them. And then for sure, like you'll hear like the chatter in the pool after people come out where they'll be like, pineapple plunger is my favorite. And then the banana blaster people will be like, no, it's no banana blaster. People have a very distinct idea of which one they like the most.
I'm gonna go with pineapple. Yeah. So the fact that they're the two-person inner tubes, and if you go with someone, there's something about being on any type of ride with somebody else. That like Humunga Cowbunga, you're going down that by yourself on the speed slide, but having someone else in there that you're feeding off of their excitement as well, and it can, well, you're not going to get this in Florida, but it'll snowball on you. And then it's one thing after another, and you know your excitement builds and feeds into their excitement, which feeds into yours or their fear. You know, if someone's a little bit nervous about it, and personally, with my little girl, she does a lot better on rides whenever there's somebody with her. That we'll get into some of the water slides that are at Blizzard Beach that we did stuff similar to that she did not like it at all. But anything that she was with somebody else, it ups her courage factor by by 10.
Well, and these are great rides for like parents and teenagers because sometimes it's just fun to go ahead and do something totally like dumb and fun with your teenager and getting on these and going down them together and making a memory. Like you kind of win like some cool points that you're willing to try and do it. And like it's kind of just a fun thing. Like yeah, we saw so many like sons and dads and moms and daughters and mixed all together like that they were just having like the best time. I honestly think that the water parks at Disney, if you want to go and see people having like genuinely fun and joy, the water parks are really a chance to really see that. They really are people for some reason water and slides and just they bring out the best of people and glee.
And if you have a teenager who's going to go on these, and if you want to give them a memorable, a, a good memory, is to not necessarily be the bravest person on them. That it'll give them something to kind of needle you about and review about. That it'll be a good memory for them of, Dad, can you believe you were afraid of that? You were screaming like a little girl. I mean, come on. But it'll be something, even if it's an act, okay? I wasn't really that scared when I went on it before. So, no. Now, our next one, it will be a whole lot more gentle. As Katie said, sometimes when you reach certain magical ages, I'm still, I'm young-ish, maybe. No. Yeah, I'm over the hill too. The Castaway Creek, or if you're a Pittsburgher, it's Castaway Crick, because that's how Creek is pronounced in Pittsburgh, is Crick. So, but it's their lazy river. It's 2,000 feet long. There are 5 different landings. There are inner tubes available so you can float along. They have cool mists that'll spray down on you. So on those really hot days, even if the water's not doing it for you, the mist will really helps. Those misters are amazing that they have in the
Yeah.
regular parts too. They have some shady grottos that you can float through. There's waterfalls that'll splash you, get you a little bit wet. There's overhead rope bridges, and you go through some caves under Mount Mayday, which is really neat.
And it is actually one of the longest lazy rivers around. So you have plenty of chances. This is a great way of like, so you can use this as your transportation system, kind of like your monorail, your bus system, but it's via tube on the lazy river where you can get off and get on, go do something and get back on and go somewhere else. Keeps your feet from getting hot too. If you're in the lazy river, your feet aren't getting warm on the concrete.
And if you are wearing bare feet, if you have bare feet, just the wear and tear of walking on that concrete all day, that can, and even if you have Crocs or sandals or water shoes, those aren't the most cushiony shoes to wear all day to be walking around. So anytime you can get off your feet and chill out a bit, plus the rest of your body being in the water, especially when you're in a hot summer day in Florida, that's just so refreshing.
For
Keeps you
sure.
going for longer.
That's right.
Now, other slides, and I believe that's the only. So the Crush and Gusher and the Humunga Cowbunga are the only slides in Typhoon Lagoon that have a minimum height limit. So all the rest, anybody else can ride. There are some that are for kids only, so we'll get to that later on. But the next one up are the Storm slides. These are 3 body slides: the Jib Jammer, the Stern Burner, and the Rudder Buster.
Can you imagine the meeting? What should we name the slides? Well, they're great names.
There's things you can write, but you can't necessarily say. So,
That's right.
but these are what, so they are body slides, but they're not the speed slides. They're more winding, back and forth, a bunch of turns, that type of thing. So it's a little bit more gentle. That's why there's no height restriction on it. So, and again, you have to ride all three just to find your favorite. I think I'm a fan of the Rudder Buster, mainly because just the name. I don't know. Next one up is Keel Hall Falls. This is a one-person inner tube ride. You go through the rocks and palm trees down from the top of Mount Mayday. Well, not the top of it, but on Mount Mayday
This is
that you
one
get
of my
to slide down.
favorites. I love this one. It's just, I think it's fun.
There's something about the inner tube rides that when we were in Kuala Lumpur, there was a pretty crazy ride, water slide that we went on that it does do a vertical drop. You stand in one of those tubes and then the floor just drops out from under you. You actually had to put a foam pad strapped to your back when you're going along this.
So was this like a pull the lever cronk, wrong lever kind of ride?
No, well, the other person did the pulling. You just had to stand there and cross your arms and your legs and
And hope they pulled
hold
the
on.
right lever.
And the thing is, though, I'm a little bit taller than most people over there, and so whenever I strapped that to my back, my tailbone still rubbed along the slide, and it burned a hole in my swim trunks in the back that it melted it. And I was like, man, my tailbone hurts from that. And I reached back, I was like, later on that day, whenever we changed, I was like, oh, no
That's why.
wonder that hurt. I was glad it wasn't a big hole. And I was like mooning everyone for half the day, but just a small
You would have
little.
been the talk of the water park at Kuala Lumpur. So
Like, wow. So there's nothing like that here. So you don't have to worry about, burning a hole through your swimsuit. But yeah, that was crazy. So with the inner tube, having that little layer of protection, and I also had a bad experience at another one that I think it was in Myrtle Beach when I was younger, like 8 years old or something like that. That it was one that had supposed to have inner tubes, and it like went into like little pools and down more, and the inner tube got away from me and went down,
oh
so I had to go
yeah.
down, and oh, I scraped my knee up. Oh,
Well,
I had a scar there for years.
so the only trauma I have about inner tube rides is the fact of like figuring out like if I'm backing in like a truck backing into a parking spot, or if like, and like how do you like how do you like delicately and gracefully like straddle a big old inner tube? That's those are the things that run through my head when I'm standing in line, is like how am I going to make sure that I don't look like I'm trying to get into a little tiny inner tube and figure out my life choices. So yeah, these are like, so, and this is the great thing. The inner tubes are all ready to go. They're all blown up. They're all great. They do a check on them every once in a while, pull out the ones that are like flat and put them aside. So you're not going to like end up at the top, wait in line for 20 minutes on a slide and then find out that your tube isn't exactly what you're looking for. And I also love the fact with Disney water parks that they include the life jackets for kids too. That's an important thing. Like water safety is very important for sure, especially with your little ones and stuff like that. You want to make sure that they're safe in the water and everything like that. So that then Disney makes it easy for you to make sure that your kids are protected, at least with the life jackets, that you don't have to worry about packing those or bringing them with you. They're there.
Yeah, definitely, especially because getting it down there is not so bad. But after, when we were into this problem too, that after you spend a day at the water park, and then if you have to go home the next day, you have wet stuff in your luggage,
Yeah.
which,
It's
you
not
know,
in Florida, like I always say, pack more suits than you think you're going to need, because especially depending on what time of year you're traveling and stuff like that, there's nothing worse than putting on a like damp swimsuit, and they take a while to dry out in the humidity there. So you'll want to make sure that you pack a couple extras.
and I'm sure your daughter has these at her pool when she swims, the little centrifuge things to dry them out. That those should be standard like everywhere. That those are amazing little things.
Those are so cool, right? Those are great. Otherwise, you can just turn in a circle really, really fast.
Just spin it around. The next slide on our list is Mayday Falls, which is the longest and highest water slide at Typhoon Lagoon. It's another one-person inner tube, and it's described as fast and turbulent as it comes down from Mount Mayday. So not for the faint of heart, but it's still not going to be too intense because there's no height restriction. But it is long, so you're going to get a long ride out of it, and it's not for people with the fear of heights.
It's a great one.
Next up is Miss Adventure Falls, which again, I love the little play on words here. And neat thing here that we talked about in our last episode is that the safety instructions are given by Captain Mary Oceaneer. If anyone who's sailed with the Disney Cruise Line has been to the Oceaneer Lab, that is all tied in with the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. So there's a whole other backstory to that, but she's giving the instructions, which is just really neat. You get in four-person rafts, so it's gonna be like a family ride down this slide. Uh, this is a can't miss attraction, if you get what I said there.
We rode this one over and over and over and over again on our last trip to Typhoon Lagoon. And part of the reason why I think it is because you don't have to carry your raft up to the top of the slide.
And that's really nice.
You're right there. So all you have to do is stand in line. But it's super fun and like kind of like a cute atmosphere. And these like family like raft rides are some of my favorite because you can all get in together and experience the thrills and chills of it all together. And it's kind of just like a fun little like experience. I love these. And this one's great. It's totally themed, has like kind of a fun little backstory, and is definitely worth doing at least once, or if you're with my family, 5 or 6 times.
And the conveyor belt that they use to get the big rafts up to the top are so neat.
They're so cool. They're great. Yeah, you don't mind it because those rafts are big. They're so big. You don't want to be carrying those.
And the guys who work at the top are like the most in shape, strongest guys in the world because they sling those rafts like it's nothing, and they do that all day.
Yes, they're rock stars. So good, so good.
So, and this is the least intense slide that comes down from Mount Mayday. So, if you're looking for a more easier one, and again, having the whole family there so that you can hold on to a little one if they're a little bit nervous about it, that's always a nice thing. Next one up is Gangplank Falls, which is a whitewater raft. They have, again, the large four-person inner tubes. This is 300 feet long, goes through caverns, under waterfalls, under bridges. So it's a little bit more rough with the water splashing around and everything than Misadventure Falls, but it's still not too bad.
This one's a fun one too. I guess I could say like that about all of them. They're all fun.
Yeah, so we'll just add that as a little comment for everything. Oh, this one's so much fun. And this one is so much fun. It'll be like a little tagline.
Well, and I like the fact that like each one of them, they have a definite distinction that you can be like, oh, I rode that one. And then if you go and stand in line for something different, you don't feel like you're repeating, because these water parks are massive. And even if you spend all day in it, there's a chance you're not going to do everything, or at the very least, you're going to do a lot of it. And you don't want to like waste your time repeating something that you've already done, unless you want to stand in line for the exact same thing. But it's kind of cool to like have a different experience on each one of these slides.
And then you get to rank them at the end.
Yes, for sure.
That's always one of the fun things after you leave the water park. Which one was your favorite? And which one was your favorite? And it's
So
even fun.
I'll be honest with you, at Typhoon Lagoon, we do a lot, but we really do spend a vast majority of our time in the wave pool. It is just that good. It is that much fun. So for sure, if you're going to do Typhoon Lagoon, make sure that you make time to do some slides in the wave pool, and maybe drag your reluctant to get out of the wave pool people out for a couple of other things, because you really could spend the whole day just doing the wave pool.
Mm-hmm. Next up are the bay slides, which are twin slides. They have a very gentle slope. This has a 60-inch maximum height, so this is made for kids. and the slope is gentle enough that it's not going to be anything that's going to scare young kids, especially when they're going down by themselves. Then there's also Ketchikiddee Creek, or again, Pittsburghese, Ketchikiddee Creek, that has a 48-inch maximum height. I love the name for this. Ketchad. Okay, if I can spell, Ketchakiddee. So Ketchikiddee. Just again, the naming stuff for this, it just adds to it. This is a kid splash zone. It has a couple small water slides. It has a water cannon on the SS Squirt. There's a cave with a waterfall. There's some animal statues like a gator and other aquatic animals that will squirt some water. There's a small sandy beach and there's kid-friendly music. So,
So, Matt, did you know that the beach sand at the water parks at Walt Disney World, they are special? The sand is special.
so is it the same sand that is along the shores of Seven Seas Lagoon?
So they bring in the sand. I'm not sure if it's the same, but they bring in the sand and it's softer than like natural sand. It's also non-stick. And they've found that, and I have no idea, like I'm not a sand scientist, but they say that it stays cooler. So the sand doesn't burn your feet. It doesn't get super hot in the Floridian sun. So the sand at Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach are the same sand, but it's meant to be softer, meant to be just a like more like pleasant experience with sand.
And do you know how they do that?
I
The
have
science
no
behind it?
I have no idea the science behind it. I was just excited that the sand was special.
And actually, it's really neat what they do. They sprinkle pixie dust.
Yeah, I've heard, well, that would make
So
sense.
it's
Yeah.
really not science, it's magic. But
That's right.
no, I have no idea how they do that either. So, but that's really cool, literally.
And the kids areas at these water parks are so fun. Like when you have littles, like your 3-year-olds, toddlers that are just starting to be experience like the fun of a Walt Disney World trip. These are like so much fun. They are not like a lesser experience. There is like some amount of melancholy when you like get kids that are like have aged out of this little area because it's so they have the best time. It's catered to them. Again, lifeguards that are there and really, really there to watch and make sure your kids are safe. And but they're just so much fun and they make them feel like big kids. I know that when we took my daughter the first time, she was little, she was 2, and my husband was like, I could stay here forever because she's having the best time. And there were
Hmm.
so many parents around that were having the best time with their little ones. So don't be afraid to take your little kids. Do not be afraid to take your little ones to Walt Disney World. Do not be afraid to take your little ones to the water park. They will have the best time. And it really is just like a fun family for the whole family, grandma and grandpa, down to the smallest of smalls.
And that's another thing that, having spent time at water parks with my little girl and even locally, there's like an little indoor pool that has like a little splash area that they can go into that my little girl just loves that so much. Of just little kids just running around, splashing, sitting in the water, doing whatever, getting water dumped on them that, you know, it's a little bit more fun for them whenever they're fully clothed and not supposed to get soaking wet, but it's still fun whenever they're in their swim stuff. And on that note, if you have a little one, swim diapers are a must.
Yep. You got to have them on and they've got to wear them.
Now, any water park would not be complete without having food there. Although remember, wait 30 minutes after you eat until you go swimming again. So, but there are several places to eat at Typhoon Lagoon. There's the Leaning Palms, which is the main counter service restaurant. It's near the park entrance. It has the usual park stuff of burgers, chicken wraps, stuff like that. So nothing that you're gonna get way too fancy at any of these places to eat, but you're gonna get food that's going to taste good, might not necessarily be good for you. Although they do have some places that have salads and other things, so you can still eat healthily. But who wants to do that? Because
And I was going
vacation
to
calories
say,
don't count.
some of these like some of these restaurants, they're quick service restaurants. So if you have the Disney dining plan, they are eligible for quick service meals. They have some really good food here. Like there, and maybe it's a combination of chlorine and sun and water that makes like that hamburger just taste a little bit better. But we've never been disappointed with the food at any of Disney's water parks. You can't go wrong. You're not making like you're not stepping out of the theme parks to go to the water park and having a lesser experience with your food choices. There's some really good choices.
Yeah, there's no sit down restaurant here, mainly because people in wet bathing suits should not be sitting down and being served for that long in a restaurant like that. So it's all counter service stuff like that. That next one on the list is Typhoon Tilly's, which has sandwiches, fish. Of course, there's fish there. They have chicken, and here's where you can get your refillable sipper. So refillable cup that you can refill throughout the day with soft drinks and water, whatever else. And if you come back later on, you can always pay a little small fee to then get like recharged, so you can then use it again. And it's a nice souvenir you can take home.
It is different than the refillable mug that you get at your resort. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, same principle, just a different cup. And of course, no water park would be complete without ice cream, and they have the Happy Landings ice cream place. And then there's also Let's Go Slurpin', which is a bar that's by the wave pool. And then Surf Doggies, which this is awesome that it's shaped like a surfer's car by the beach and has surfboards as decorations on it. And that's another little, is that a bar? They have drinks there. Is that what it is?
I think so.
I can't remember. Oh no, that one's not. That's what just has regular little snacks.
I haven't ever experienced surf doggies. I haven't made it to surf doggies.
I've seen it, never ate there though. Just walking by, she's like, "Hey, look at that cool place!" And it's hard to believe that they're actually serving food there. Next up is the Crush Cart. So this is by the Crush and Gusher. There's the Snack Shack, which is by Typhoon Tilly's. It has salads, waffles, sandwiches, and of course ice cream. So there's your salad. You can get some healthy stuff. And then the other place that you can get alcoholic beverages is at the High and Dry, which is interesting because if you're going there, it's not dry, but they have frozen alcohol, beer, they have snacks. So on a hot day, if you need something to an adult beverage or an adult snack, I guess, I don't know, since it's frozen, not quite a beverage anymore. And they have picnic areas and coolers are allowed in the park. So if you want to bring your own stuff, your own food, however, the restrictions are you cannot bring any glass containers, you cannot bring alcohol, and you cannot bring ice because they don't want the melted ice, the water from there to mix with the water of the pool. So it's just a sanitary thing. But you can bring like the frozen ice packs and things like that, but no loose ice. And two places where you can do it. One is called the Getaway Glen, which is near the Happy Landings, and it's by the front of the entrance of the park. And then there's Hideaway Bay, which is near the Crush and Gusher and where the dressing rooms are.
And I was just going to jump in and say that they have lockers available. So if you're planning on hitting the water park in the morning and then going straight to one of the theme parks, you can bring your clothes and everything like that. And dressing rooms are really nice. They have room for you to get ready and go out about your day if you want to go ahead and change into some drier clothes or whatever you want to do.
And then the main shopping, of course, their shopping is Singapore Sal's, where you can rent things like towels if you need them. They have souvenirs, they have swimwear, they have footwear. So, if you would happen to be unlucky enough to get a hole in your swim trunks, you can always buy another pair. And the footwear, this is an important thing of the water shoes, is that I highly, highly recommend those. That on a lot of the water slides, you cannot go down wearing sandals or Crocs, but they'll let you go down with the water shoes on.
And you're going to be super grateful to have them because the concrete, it's kind of a brown, like meant to look to kind of fade into like the sandy beach island thing, it can get hot. So there's nothing worse than burning your feet when you're trying to enjoy a day at the water parks and then knowing that you've burnt the bottoms of your feet and you're going to put on some miles at the theme parks. So make sure you bring your water shoes, embrace the water shoes. You know that sometimes for some of us, they can make us feel a little bit dorky, but this is one of those cases that function above fashion. So
I don't know about you, but I think my pair are actually very stylish. So I make a statement whenever I wear mine. So, but yeah, definitely have those. It saves on blisters on the feet, burnt feet, and you don't have to do that thing where we had to do it sometimes at the pool in the past of you step out and the concrete's too hot, so you have to take the water and splash it on the ground, and then you have to walk exactly where you splashed. So
yep.
bring an empty water bottle and you fill it up with the pool water and you drip that in front of you so you have a place to walk. Now, one special thing that they have at Typhoon Lagoon during the summer are the Disney H2O Glow After Hours. So this is a separately ticketed event that happens in the summer on select nights, and it's basically you get to go into the water parks after hours in the evening, all the lights on, things all lit up, and there are shorter lines for everything that you want to go on.
And it kind of has a party atmosphere. At least the pictures that I've seen of it from last year's event was lots of like neon colors, lots of fun. It's just lively and like they bring in bands and it's just fun. It's like a kind of a neat way to like experience like after hours events with Disney are always a great way to experience a park or just in a different way. And this was a great chance to kind of experience a water park in a totally Typhoon Lagoon in a totally different way that you haven't ever experienced before.
And these are pretty popular out in Disneyland are the after dark parties that they have them different themed throughout the years. I know one's a Star Wars one. They have one during Pride Month and just a couple other different ones that they're a huge draw. And even going back to the 1950s that on the Wonderful World of Disney, or it might have been the Wonderful World of Color then, that they had a episode that was Disneyland After Dark that they highlighted going to the park in the evening. Katie, I don't know if you've ever seen that old episode.
I
I
haven't seen
personally have
that.
it on DVD, so I can, let you borrow it sometime. Might be on
Well,
Disney Plus.
I
You
was
can look
just
for
thinking
that.
about like Jollywood. That's one of the things that right now we are selling. So at Disney's Hollywood Studios, they have Jollywood, which is their Christmas party. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas. Just all of these little extra events are all things that we are more than happy to tell you about. We're more than happy to help you secure tickets to as your travel advisor. If there's something going on at Walt Disney World that is different, new, then for sure you want to go ahead and book with somebody that knows what they're talking about. You want to book with agents that know all of the great and hidden little treasures, and not so hidden, but the things that make your trip just extra special.
And Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has been going on for a while. I mean, however many years. But the Jollywood one is new. That this is only the second year, I believe, second year that they've
Yep.
done it. And the H2O Glow After Hours, that reminds me of the Jollywood the most. Of it's Jollywood's like a 1940s, like somewhat classy cocktail party type thing, but H2O Glow After Hours has that same party atmosphere type thing. And like
Yeah, like
Katie said, with the music and everything.
I picture like an old like Beach Boys movie or something like that, like on the beach party, like kind of a fun little party atmosphere.
Or if you're a fan of the movie That Thing You Do, which the Wonders or the Oneaters from Erie, Pennsylvania, that they're one scene they're like modeling after the Beatles or whatever, that they're in this movie and it's what Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters type of thing, that it just screams that. Yeah. So anything else you wanted to add about Typhoon Lagoon before we move on to Blizzard Beach?
Nope, I really like it. It's fun. It shouldn't be missed. If you have a chance to go, which you would if you book a trip during 2025, and you should go for sure. It's so much fun. so much fun. You're gonna find yourself going, wow, I need to go ahead and experience all of it, maybe more than once. And we can hook you up with tickets for that too.
And like I said before, that we usually go in December. This year we're going in January, but next year if we go in December, this is twice I get to go to the water parks for free.
Right,
So I'm
right.
looking forward to that. Now, with Disney's Blizzard Beach water park, that opened on April 1st, 1995. So the backstory for this is that a snowstorm fell on Florida on January 11th, 1977. So this is before I was born. I'm not quite that old yet. The residents of the area tried to open a ski resort, but the snow started to melt, obviously, because it's Florida, even in January, until they saw, and then they were kind of disappointed until they saw a blue alligator, who they call Ice Gator, which is so Ice Gator, not an ice skater, but an ice gator, who is their mascot, the blue alligator that was sliding down the mountain. And so they decided, let's change this from a ski resort into a water park. So our first visit was 1999 to this. Uh, we went to Typhoon Lagoon in 1995. So that I think that was my parents' strategy of, oh, there's a brand new water park. It might be crowded. Let's go to the other one. So,
So the theming of Blizzard Beach is incredibly fun, and it kind of like takes you a few minutes to like you totally get immersed in the fact that you're at this freak snowstorm. I love this park. It's so much fun.
and as much as I like the theming and the wave pool at Typhoon Lagoon and how Miss Tilly up on top of Mount Mayday is just so iconic, it makes her such great pictures. And, I could stand there and stare at the geyser go off, every time it does. I like Blizzard Beach better. There's something about it with the theming, like you said, that and even when you walk into the park, and the one time we were there, there was a big pile of snow. It was in like, let's see, when did we go that year? It would have been somewhere in like June or July, and there's a pile of snow. No,
So
that's the nice snow that I like.
I'm not coming from a place of like for sure knowing, but for me, Blizzard Beach feels like it has a smaller footprint. So Typhoon Lagoon seems much more massive. Blizzard Beach seems like a smaller water park, not small in the things that you can do and see and enjoy, but just a smaller footprint.
And so Typhoon Lagoon is 61 acres.
Watch, they're like the same amount of acreage, and I've just in my head made them seem smaller.
And Blizzard Beach is bigger. It's 66.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
believe. I don't know. It just maybe
It,
I don't know why. It just
it
seems
it
smaller.
has well, it has that feel to it
Yeah.
that it the it I think it's with there's more well, I don't know if there's more water slides, but it feels like that area is taken up by like the water slides and the attraction. So you're not like walking around all that area. So like less area to cover on foot, but it still covers more space in general.
Well, and it probably feels a little bit smaller because you have that massive wave pool at Typhoon Lagoon
That takes up the space,
that
yeah.
takes up a huge amount of space. So yeah.
So the attractions at Blizzard Beach are broken into a couple of different slopes. So it's like you're at an actual ski slope. There's green slopes. Was it green, red, and purple? Yeah. So the green slopes, the so there's three different attractions there. Well, three different slides. That one is Summit Plummet, which has a 48-inch minimum, and this is from the top of Mount Gushmore, which has a ski jump on the top. And it drops 12 stories, 360 feet long, and it's a speed slide. And the really, really cool thing about this is that you can see the people on the top of what is the ski jump, start to slide down. And as they disappear from view and as they would be sliding off of the ski jump, water shoots off of it. So the timing of that, it's just so perfect. And even the first time I saw that, it was like, that is so amazing. I have to do that.
So did you do this?
Maybe. I
So
plead the fifth. No, actually, I think whenever we went, back when I was 18, I chickened out.
So my husband and I went on our honeymoon to Walt Disney World, and I did this on our honeymoon. I did Summit Plummet, and it is a rush. Like it is completely like you feel like they should hand you out a little button at the bottom and say, I did this. So it is a great water slide. It is so much fun. It is worth all of like the trepidation while you're getting to the top and locking into position to go down it. It's a cool one. It's really great.
And I'll check back with me in uh, early January because I will make amends on this. So
So now this might sound a little bad, but make sure on this one before you stand up that all your swimsuit is where it's supposed to be, because there's enough force that your swimsuit might have adjusted when you get off of it.
yeah, this is a family theme park, so
That's
please.
right. We had a little grandpa that was when we were there. I remember him great. I remember him fondly. He was like at the bottom, almost like it was a public service announcement. I'm sure there's like some family that was like, "Where's Grandpa Joe?" Oh, he's at the bottom of Summit Plum, making sure everybody's swimsuits are in where they're supposed to be.
Oh man. So next to that is the slush gusher, which also has a 48-inch minimum. These are 90 feet long, and these have two little humps on this speed slide. So you come down and it kind of flattens out, then goes down again, flattens out. So you get some air on this.
You do.
And it is, go ahead. You have a thought,
I was
Katie?
gonna say, don't let anybody give you crap that you're not that you didn't do Summit Plummet, but and you did slush gusher, because this is a no joke water slide too. Like you get props for doing this. You don't get as many props as going on Summit Plummet. You get like ultimate props for doing both of them, but it's a pretty good one. Like it's yeah, you can actually feel the air between your backside and the slide. So
Yeah, you lift off of it. Now you're not going to be, actually, it feels worse than what it is.
yeah, but
It,
that's like the great part of it, right? Is in your head, you're like, I'm soaring, I'm flying. You're not.
and we went on, so in, let's see, it was in near, let's see, it was in Medan, Indonesia. So it's like the middle of Sumatra on the other island. And they had a water slide that it had these humps in it. That it was one of the ones where you went down on a mat facing forward. So, and I went on this, oh, geez. We got good video of it. And of course, we went down the one time and I had my wife video and she messed up. So I had to go on it again. I had to, doing it for the gram, right? That whenever you hit the bottom, you slid across, it went into a pool and I went across like half of this swimming pool, just skipping across like a stone. But whenever we went down the thing, I caught some air and the landing was a bit rough. But this is Disney. They have safety standards in the United States that they don't have in some other countries. So you're not gonna, get the wind knocked out of you like I almost did. It's a much more general. Plus, you're on your back, so you have a little more cushion to land on. But yeah, it's a bit it's for the best word I can think of, discombobulating that you're in that air and it's it it's a jolt that whenever you finally realize, oh, my back is not touching anything. Oh wow. So yeah, you need some guts for this. Next one, coming down the green slopes is Teamboat Springs, which a big raft, you can have up to six riders in it. It is 1,200 feet long. It has twists, turns, and spins, and is the world's longest family whitewater raft ride.
It is fantastic. And I believe at the bottom of this, you can find a hidden Mickey and get your picture taken with your family.
So again, paying attention to the little details. And we'll discuss getting pictures taken too, and phone usage and all that while you're at these parks. Now, you don't need to walk up all the steps to get to the top. At least potentially you don't. They have a chairlift. So again, fitting right in with the ski slope or ski resort theme that you have to be at least 32 inches to ride the chairlift, and if you're under 48 inches you need an adult supervision, but it will take you to the top of Mount Gushmore. So if you're going on Summit Plummet, the Slush Gusher, or T-Bone Springs, you can take the chairlift to the top, and one, it's just a neat ride to go on, and two, it saves you some steps
It
and
is so
climbing.
much fun. Like it, So even if you have no intention of riding any of these three rides, for sure take the chairlift and then walk back down the stairs. I mean, I don't think that it's worth it if you don't want to ride one of these, but the chairlift is so much fun and they're so brightly colored. They have a little umbrella to shade you and everything like that. But you really do. You feel like you're at a ski resort on a chairlift. It's really cute.
Last year we went to a local ski resort and it was, it was in the fall. They had like a fall fest thing. So there was no snow there, but they had the chairlift running. And so we took that up and just rode that around a little bit. And they had one of those roller toboggan rides that like little roller
Oh
thing
yeah,
just going down. So we got to do that. So that was a whole lot of fun. But the chairlifts, they're real neat. And the view from up there is just amazing
it
when
is.
you're at
So
the
cool.
chairlift here at Blizzard Beach. And just like looking down below you, that we'll get to it of um, the training area. Was it, what's the official name? The Ski Patrol training camp. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
So
seeing that from above.
so Mount Gushmore is one of the tallest mountains in the area. It stands at 90 feet tall.
And that's also in just Florida in general.
Yeah, there's no
If anyone,
mountains.
yeah, that's the weirdest thing about, Katie coming from Utah and me from Western Pennsylvania, Northern West Virginia, is how flat Florida is.
Flat,
Uh,
Florida's very flat. I don't know about you guys there, but we use our mountains here like to kind of orientate ourselves we're like, okay, it's this way, this is this way because of the mountains are this way, or yeah, you can't use that there. You want to have a good time, watch a person from Utah, or at least our family, try to like make their way in a flat place because it kind of takes a little while to figure out what you're using as your landmarks.
And if you go back and listen to episode 6 of this podcast, whenever my dad and I talk about Yosemite National Park, I tell you about the time that I sort of took a wrong turn on one of the trails and got lost. And knowing the mountains and where they were in relation to one another helped me get back on track. So,
This is right. Yep.
but in Florida, of course, they do have a lot of mountains of Space and um, Big Thunder Mountain and Everest. So, there
Right.
are some the fun mountains. So, and if you are a fan of Dave Barry, the comedy writer, he had an article about Mount Trashmore, which was like the tallest spot in Florida. It was near Miami. That it was a like a landfill mountain that was like the tallest thing. He has this whole thing about climbing to the top of it one day. So, anyway, moving on, we have the purple slopes. In they have the downhill double dipper, which is 48-inch minimum. These are you race in inner tubes, and it's a covered slide, and it's like a 50-foot drop. And so two of them there right next to each other, and you go down in these inner tubes. And I think this is why I like Blizzard Beach better, is that it has a little bit of a competition with a lot of the slides, and
Yeah.
it's a little more adds a little bit more of a fun element to it. Next one up in the purple slope is the Snow Stormers. These are three slalom style courses, and you lay on a toboggan style mat. So this is one like the one I was talking about with the double dip in Medan, that you hold on little handles in front and you lay on your stomach and you go down, head first, kind of like a was it the Olympics, the skeleton. So the luge you lay on your back on the little sled, the skeleton you lay facing on your stomach facing forward, and this is 350 feet long, and you get to race others down the course. This was one of my, this I think is my second favorite of
These
the
are
of the
they're fun.
what's that?
They're fun. We bet ice cream on these ones. Winner has to buy ice cream, but most of the time it's we always buy ice cream for our kids anyways, but it makes them feel like they like won something. I guess.
And so the winner had to buy the ice cream.
No, it's the loser
Loser had to buy
has
it.
to buy
Okay.
it, but I guess most of the time if we're always buying it, then we're always the loser, but it's okay.
Yeah. Although the way, if my dad would think of it that way, anytime he gets ice cream, he's never a loser.
This is true. Yes, this is
That was
right.
one of our Sunday traditions during the summer, is that my dad, we'd go do miniature golf and then get ice cream, mainly because my dad wanted ice cream. We didn't complain. Now, here is my favorite right here are the toboggan racers. So there are 8 racers side by side by side by side. There are 3 bumps going down. It's a 250-foot long track. And again, you lie on these toboggan style mats, forward. And if you pull the mat up, you get to go faster. If you push it down, that's how you slow down or stop. And these are the ones that my little girl did not want to go on this summer, that she chickened out, that she, going by herself just really was not her thing. But oh, I went on these so many times over the summer. And whenever we were in at Blizzard Beach, I loved racing my dad because I beat him. So we didn't have the bet on ice cream, but I wish we would have. But we were neck and neck going down. But you push off on the little starting block like you're a sprinter in a race, on track and field, and then pull that mat up and you go down. Now, the nice thing with these is that even though it has the humps, you're not going to catch the air like you did on some of the other ones. That this is a little bit more of a smoother one. So,
Did you know that these ones they have like a slight like a trick of the eye? So it makes you feel like it's a straight shot down, but there's like some slight twists and things like that so that it makes the race vary a little bit. And there's some jockeying back and forth. They're not like a straight, you wouldn't like looking at them, you would think they're just straight, but they're not.
and if you're just a bad driver, that can also make you feel like you're not going straight too,
That's right.
if you don't get a straight push off it. So yeah, try and push as straight as you can. These were my absolute favorite. They're just so much fun. Both with the ride, the going head first type thing. It's kind of like going if you're sled riding and going on your little cheap sled going down the hill, and it has that feel to it. That it's sled riding in the warmth,
Yeah.
which is the best kind of water whenever it's warm. Speaking of which, the pools and the water at these water parks, it's heated, and I think it's heated like 80 degrees.
Well, so here's the thing, Matt. But in true Disney theming fashion, did you know that the temperature of the water at Blizzard Beach is slightly cooler than the water that you'll find at Typhoon Lagoon because it wants to make you feel like you're actually at a blizzard?
As long as it's not the water that I've had at some swimming pools that
Yes. So
yeah.
my daughter's swim meet last week, the boiler at the swim complex broke. And so they swam in cold water and they felt it. So I yeah, yeah.
Now, personally, if I was your daughter, I would have had a personal best because I would jump in that water and say, it's too cold. I'm going to swim as fast as I can to get out as quickly as I can.
She did pretty darn good. That might have been the reason why.
And yes, I've experienced that too. That, again, being in Morgantown at West Virginia University, at their rec center, they have an indoor swimming pool, which again, my daughter asks all the time to go to. And each year they shut off um, the boiler to do maintenance on it. And we went one time not thinking about that and jumped in the pool and jumped right back out. It was
No.
so cold. And this was like in August too. So it wasn't like it was middle of the winter, but oh my goodness, that water was cold.
The Disney water parks and the pools are always pleasant. They're pretty nice.
And actually, sometimes I think it's out in Las Vegas that they actually have some of the pools that are air conditioned. So they are cold and they cool down the water rather than heating it up.
Yeah.
So but yeah, especially if you're going to summer, it doesn't really matter because the water's just naturally going to be warm and it's great. In the winter, you might need a little bit. Although we've had some really, really nice days in the winter down there. That
Yes.
although the mornings can be cool, like down to 60s or so, but it can warm up pretty nicely in the afternoon. So this feels really nice. Now on the red slope, they have runoff rapids. There are 3 slides here. They're 600 feet long, and you use an inner tube. But this is really neat how these are done. That the center slide is covered, so it's fully enclosed, and then the 2 side slides will snake around the covered slide. Try saying that 3 times fast. The side slides snake around the covered slide.
That's pretty good. That's a tongue twister.
I practiced for a couple hours before we did this. Okay. Now, on the ground, they have Cross Country Creek, or again, Cross Country Creek. And Katie said about the Typhoon Lagoon. lazy river being long. That was 2,000 feet. This one is 3,000 feet long with the lazy river. There are 7 landings. Again, you can inner tubes are available that you can grab. You go through caves. There's illuminated grottos. So like going whenever the caves they light up, which is pretty neat. You go under bridges. There's bubbling geysers. There's waterfalls, and the really neat thing, there are leaky pipes. So it's like you're going through this dilapidated area that there's a pipe of water, and then you get dripped on. You're like, what is that? I mean, it's intentional, so don't worry.
So, and you'll see all over Blizzard Beach, they'll have boxes that make them look like they're snow, like the snow throwers. And they squirt water because it's supposed to make you feel like the snow is melted. And like it's just part of the theming. Just little extra special little touches.
And that's again another thing that just makes this so fit so perfectly is that it's hot there. Everything is painted white like there's snow, and like the even the architecture and the concrete is built up like it's a snow mound, and then you have the water everywhere dripping. So it's like it really snowed there, and everything's melting. And then this next thing is great. It's called Meltaway Bay. That again, theming. This is a 1 acre heated wave pool. Now the waves here are a lot smaller than Typhoon Lagoon, but they are more consistent. They'll come at more of a faster rate. And there is a white sand beach right next to it. So again, you can sit and enjoy, lay out on the beach for a little bit, go in the water and cool off, lay out on the beach for a little bit. So it's a real nice back and forth that I know that's how my mom likes to spend her summers. And I mentioned it before, but there's also the ski patrol training camp. And this is basically like a big obstacle course that there is, for the most part, there is no height limit for this. There's the thin ice training course, where basically there's little floating things that look like small iceberg type things or broken up ice that you have to try and keep your balance on. And then there's the Fahrenheit drops. It's a zip line, but this is one with the height restriction that it's only for people under 60 inches tall. And of course, we went the first time in 98 whenever I was 18 years old and I was 6 foot tall, whatever. And this was the thing I was so disappointed that I could not do. This like little T-bar zip line that you just grab on with both hands and you slide down and then it hits the end and no matter how hard you're holding on, you're flying off that thing into the water. And it just looks so much fun that this is one of the times I wish I was shorter.
This is kind of the area that you'll find like the preteens hanging out in, like 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. And they really get into it. And it's so much fun to watch them like do this little obstacle course and cheer each other on. And it's really neat. It's kind of fun.
They also have the Frozen Pipe Springs, which is an enclosed body slide. There's Cool Runners, which is an inner tube slide with quote unquote melting snow. And then there's Snowfalls, which is another little body slide. But yeah, just as a family activity of if you have adventurous little ones, which my little girl is gonna love this area that I cannot wait to take her. Of going on and here, Daddy, watch me, especially because she's so into gymnastics and climbing on things and tumbling and whatever else that she has no fear and supreme confidence in her abilities. That I can just hear the little trash talking from her. Come on, Daddy, you can't do it as fast as I can, and I'm just waiting for that. And then whenever she falls, I get to laugh at her. No, I would not do that. I'd help her get out of the pool because I'm nice. And then they do have a kids area. It's called Tykes Peak. This is a 48-inch maximum height. This is themed to Frozen. So again, I know where my little girl's going to want to go. They have a wading pool with Olaf, the Snow Geese, and some other characters. There's Anna and Elsa's igloo fortress that has pop-up water jets. There are miniature snowbank slides, side by side downhill slides. There's a junior inner tube ride. There are some snow chutes and a sandy beach there too.
So our first trip with Ava when she was little, when she was 2, we went and did this and did the junior inner tube slide over and over and over again. In fact, by the end, the little lifeguard knew her name. Her name was Ava Grace. And it's such a cute little area. And at that time it wasn't themed after Frozen. Now it is. And this is like a great spot. If you have little ones or like little bigger ones that can't let Frozen go, this is such a cute spot for like great little photo opportunities. It is very well themed. It isn't like in your face, but it is so cute and so much fun. And anything that has Olaf in it, it's great. It's like a big warm hug, right?
And you get to see what snowmen do in the summer.
That's right.
And Katie, you gave me some ribbing for some of my dad jokes on the last podcast when we were talking about the Jungle Cruise. But those who just can't let it go with Frozen, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I know. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. But now I know that we're recording this before Moana 2 coming out. I have tickets for Thanksgiving Day. I am ready to go. I cannot wait. I am so excited. Oh, it's gonna be
And
great.
a certain person that we know dressed like Moana for
Yes,
Halloween.
my daughter dressed like Moana, and she was a pretty darn good Moana, if I do say so myself. And in fact, she's like, I don't know, maybe I should wear my costume to the movie theater. And I was like, I think that you might end up like not getting to watch the movie. You might end up getting your picture taken a
Well, it
lot.
depends on how cold it is, too. So,
So, and the new tower at the Poly that we can book, Matt, we can book this for our guests, has Moana.
and it's a pretty impressive little area with a splash pad, too, for Moana. And
Yes,
when this is airing, it's opening in like 4 days.
I
So it's
know.
December
I'm so
17th.
excited. I'm ready to go.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. I can't wait to go down and see it. I
Yep.
mean, just from the outside, even. But even taking a side trip to the Polynesian resort when we're at the Magic Kingdom, just because my wife likes to go and get the meatballs at Captain Cook's. So,
So, unpopular opinion, I think that the Dole Whips at the Polynesian Resort are better than the Dole Whips you find at Magic Kingdom. Give it a shot. Tell me what you think. That's my opinion.
for anyone who hasn't tried it, don't knock it till you give it a chance. You can't say you don't like. You can't say she's wrong until you've tried. Okay.
Yep.
I won't argue. No argument here. So of course you're going to uh, need some food. So they have, and this is again great naming, Ava Lunch, not Avalanche, but Ava Lunch, and this has light snacks. It's near the chairlift. And then again another great name, the Lotta Wada Lodge. So Lottawatta, Lotta Wada, which is what you're gonna get at the water park. So this has a ski lodge theme. It has some outdoor covered seating. It's counter service, and this is where you can get your refillable sipper if you are in Blizzard Beach. The next one is I period C period expeditions. So icy expeditions. And of course, is where you get ice cream. This is desserts, drinks. It's by the chairlift. I think this is my favorite just because it has ice cream desserts. And of course, they have two that match up with each other as a nice yin and yang. There's the cooling hut and the warming hut. So the cooling hut has some light snacks and drinks. It's in the village, which is the main thing like near the entrance. And then the warming hut has hot food and drinks. So perfect. There's Frostbite Freddy's, which is a bar by Snowless Joe's, not Shoeless Joe's, but Snowless Joe's. This is in the village near the entrance. We'll talk about Snowless Joe's in a sec. And there's also the Polar Pub. Let me enunciate there. That is a bar on the beach by the wave pool.
Okay, now wait a minute here, Matt. Here's the thing. This is where the best donuts, we've talked about this before. Amanda was on here. She and I bonded over this. You definitely want to get the mini donuts at Blizzard Beach. There's a little shack. You go ahead, you order your mini donuts. This is the plan. Hear me out here. The person that goes and gets the mini donuts buys 2 bags. 1 bag to share, and the other bag gets consumed while you're walking back to your spot. Nobody needs to know. We won't tell anybody. You need to get all of the dipping sauces, and then you have to find a spot to brush off the sugar so the evidence isn't there. They are phenomenal. They are so good. You might, if you spend the whole day there, the donut shack people might know you by name. and might be like, "You're back again." And you'll be like, "Yes, I am. There's no judgment." What happens at Blizzard Beach's Donut Shack stays at Blizzard Beach's Donut Shack.
And they won't complain. They'll understand because they work
They
there.
are so good. I might have talked my family into buying water park passes just for the donuts one year.
And this is the key that if you have them camped out, far enough away from the donut shack, then it's a longer walk, so you can eat
No
more of
matter
the
where
donuts
they're,
on the
even if
way.
they're like right next to the donut shack, you take the long route home.
It's like, oh, let's say, like, on the other side of the building, you're like, oh, and you walk around the other way out of sight and then loop around and then
I have a whole
exactly.
plan every time I go. Whole plan.
And which of the dipping sauces is your favorite?
Oh, they have a raspberry one that is so good. But if you get your own dipping sauce, you get yourself a raspberry and a chocolate one, and you kind of mix them together, and so good.
And then what else is there? The white chocolate? Is that the
Yeah.
other one?
There's raspberry white chocolate and then like a milk chocolate.
No, the thing is, not many people like the white chocolate, but I'm a fan. So,
Are you? All right. Well,
well, was a
let me know how
fan
the
when I could
donuts
have
go
it, but
for your trip in January. Let me know.
I say sometimes it's worth the pain. And no pain, no gain on that one. It's worth the sacrifice. Just like at Typhoon Lagoon, there are coolers that you can bring in, so you can bring your own food. But again, no glass, no alcohol, or loose ice. So ice packs are the only thing you bring in to keep things cool. Although really, you're in a ski resort, so it's got to be cool there, right? So shopping, they have the Shade Shack. So you can buy some jewelry there, which includes pearls. This is in the village. It's near the changing rooms. Then there is Snowless Joe's, which has rental lockers and towels. They have the free life jackets there. This is in the village near the entrance, and it's also near the changing rooms. And then this next place, it must be taken out of Pittsburgh. It's called the Beach House, which Pittsburghese, if you're talking about someone's dwelling where they live, it's their house in that. So Haus, just like in Magic Kingdom with Pinocchio's village Haas. So Pittsburghese, basically it's laziness in talking. We don't enunciate fully. So, but at the beach house, it's the main merchandise store that you can get your souvenirs, your swimwear, your footwear. You can also rent lockers there and towels. You can get your life jackets as well. It's in the village. It's near the entrance and the Lotta Wada Lodge.
So I love Blizzard Beach. And one of the things that I love to do is with Blizzard Beach is we combine it with the miniature golf course that is right next door. So they have, if you have never experienced miniature golf at a Disney resort, that is where you are going to want to hang out. The Winter Summerlin golf course is right next door. It's like you walk out of the entrance and exit of Blizzard Beach. It's right there. And it is themed after Santa. And they have a winter and then they have these summer where like the elves have gone on vacation with Santa. It is the funnest thing ever. You could make a whole day of this. So go do the water park, have a great time, and then go and do your miniature golfing too. So much fun. Love it.
Especially because the water parks are only open from about 10 to 5. So they close a little
Right.
bit earlier than the theme parks do. So whenever you're done around 5 o'clock, you can go and, you still have a bit of time in the evening that you can do that before, you need to get, ready for bed and ready for the next day of your fun and excitement. And again, like Katie said, they share the same parking lot. So you walk out and it's what, 200 100
It's
yards
not,
between
yeah,
the
it's really
entrances.
close. And the great thing about Disney too is that you can get transportation. You don't have to get an Uber or a Lyft or anything like that. Their bus system will take you to these water parks. They have changeovers at Disney Springs and sometimes the one at Animal Kingdom you can get on and it drops off at Blizzard Beach, depending on the schedule and depending on which water park is open.
And that's actually, we have to do another podcast about the miniature golf. The Fantasia Gardens is another fabulous one that all so at the Winter Summerland there are two courses there. At Fantasia Gardens there are two courses there. So a total of four miniature golf courses in Walt Disney World. And they're all so much fun that
They're incredibly cute and well themed, and they're just really good.
yeah, I think I like the Winterland one better than the Summerland just because it fits with Santa better and it's right by Blizzard Beach, so it just seems like it should fit there better. Um, but the Summerland one has just
I always
seeing
think
Santa
about
in the elves in summer. There's something about that.
I think about the hole. There's this hole where you're like you have to like putt over the bridge, and there's like a lake, and there's this cute little goldfish that's like popping out and squirting water, and it just makes me giggle every time I see it. I don't know why. It's just a goldfish, right? But it's just like so much fun, and it's cute.
Yeah, it's miniature golf, so you get to have that little bit of competition again. So after coming from racing down the ski slopes all day, you get to try to one up your family members. It's a healthy competition though, especially because I always, I win. Actually, no, my dad's very good at it, and that was a staple of our vacations all the time. And like I said, summers we went miniature golfing, then got ice cream on Sundays. But every vacation we went, no matter where, we always looked for miniature golf and would compete against each other. And we still do that now with my family. My wife's actually pretty good, and of course, watching my little girl play, she just don't stand behind someone when they're swinging, especially if they're younger. That happened to me once with my youngest sister, that she took a full swing with a putter and cut me right in the head. Oh man. So
There's a
public safety
certain
announcement.
there's a certain technique to miniature golf. They are so well themed though at Disney. They're so much fun.
Oh yeah. And they're challenging too. It's not just this
Yeah.
easy little whatever. Especially the fairways course over in Fantasia Gardens. It's themed like a real golf course with
Yes. This one
water
isn't
hazards and
like,
sand and the fairways and everything. That it's tough.
yeah, I was gonna say that one is the one that is not Disney like character themed. It is actually like a full on like it's a serious miniature golf course.
Yeah. So if you want to challenge yourself, and they do offer a little bit, at least they used to, they offer a discount that if you do two rounds back to back, that they give you a little bit of break on the second round. So, Katie, anything else you want to add about the water parks before we call it a
Just
day?
take us up on it. Book your trip in 2025. Experience the water parks. This is a great chance if you always wanted to go, if you've always wanted to do it, and you're like, oh, this is a great way to experience a Disney water park, and you won't regret it. So much fun to be had. I love the fact that at a Disney water park, it doesn't matter. Everybody is just themselves. Like you throw on your swimsuit, there's no self-consciousness about it. It's just fun. It's pure fun.
And going back to, yeah, no self-consciousness except when you're getting on the inner tubes.
Well, yeah, but
Although with that, you're going for maximum fun there. So sometimes it's
the
better to do the
logistics
most
stay in your
ungraceful
head.
way. Try to do it most ungracefully just because it's going to get some laughs.
That's
You're doing
well,
it on purpose though, so it's okay.
yeah, we'll go ahead and that's the line we'll tell everybody.
Well, that's whenever you mess up, then it's like, yeah, I was trying to make you laugh. So there's a story with there. So, Katie, what is your travel tip?
So one of my travel tips to do with the water parks is I would suggest when you walk into the park, make sure that you don't pick the first spot, because here's the thing. Human nature is that we grab like one of the first chairs and it fills up and gets crowded there in the front. Some of the best spots are a little bit further back, a little bit longer walk in, but an actual really nice spot to find the best place to go. The water parks are open. If there is, Florida has some rain showers and things like that, they will shut them down if there's a threat of lightning or thunder within a certain vicinity of the park. But a lot of the times those storms, they roll through pretty quick. So if you are in the park, it gets shut down for a little while, find a nice place to dry place to hang out, go ahead and grab yourself something to eat and wait it out a little bit because it really is worth it. I love these. Honestly, the water parks are just so much fun. I am so excited that I got to talk to everybody about them. And I hope that you all are, when you get done listening, are like, yep, that's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and get with Matt. I want to get with Katie. I want to get with one of the amazing Dreams by Design travel advisors to book one of these trips so that you can go ahead and experience a Disney water park.
Yeah, and rain at the water park is horrible because you don't want to get wet after you're, going out in the pool and everything. So,
There was one time my family went and we were like, we'll wait it out. And we waited 2.5 hours and it never stopped raining. And so we were like, okay, we give up finally. Because it was like, we're sure it's gonna blow over. We're sure it's gonna blow over. And it didn't blow over.
no. In all seriousness, no, go find a safe place because while the rain will not hurt you, the lightning and water do not mix too well. So
That's
yes,
right.
safety first.
And sometimes that rain can be a little chilly too, even
Yeah.
if you already are wet.
And to go off of what Katie said about not taking the first spot to set your stuff down and to set up your camp, when you go further into the park, that means whenever you do want to go back to your stuff and take a rest or whatever else you need, it's less of a walk back. So you're not trekking all the way back to the entrance of the park to get your stuff to then trek all the way back into the park. So when you're farther back, it's a little more of a central location and you're around more of the slides and everything else. So going back is a little bit more, it's a better strategy in the grand scheme of things. My tip is to know the height requirements of all the attractions before you go to any amusement park, whether it's a water park or a some mostly dry park. And so, especially if you have adventurous little ones, and you can build up the things that they can do, and you can avoid getting them too excited about the things they can't go on, and you kind of play that down so that whenever they're like, "Oh, can I go?" I think, "Nah, you don't want to do that. It's not a whole lot of fun." And then you have to like change your mind on the next trip of, "Oh yeah, that's so awesome. Let's do it." Whenever they're tall enough.
It is the best experience to go one year and have your little one not be able to do something and then go back the next year and then be able to get on something that they've been looking forward to ride. It's just kind of like a rite of passage. It's so much fun to watch how a Disney park changes and evolves as your children grow, as your grandkids get older. It's always a different and new experience.
And we've experienced that just the last couple of years with my little girl. Of the first time we went to Disneyland, she was 3 and could hardly do anything. Well, could not do any of the big rides, so none of the roller coasters. So it was a very tame experience that we had. And then last year when we went, she was exactly 42 inches tall. So she loved Slinky Dog Dash. She got to go on Cosmic Rewind in Big Thunder Mountain, and then this year she's tall enough she can do um, Pandora ride, Flight of Passage, and Space Mountain, and she is so
Oh,
excited about doing those. It's like, oh yeah, you can do, because last time it was, oh, let's do that. What's in there? It's like, no, we can't. You're not talking. But I'm big enough. I can do it. They won't let you. I'm sorry. But now she can do that. The only thing she really can't do is Tron. And then
that's
at the water parks, there'll be a few things she can't do, but she probably won't want to do those ones anyway because you have to do them alone. So,
right.
so at least we have that saving grace. But I'm looking forward to this trip so much.
I'm excited for you guys. It's going to be a wonderful trip full of like memories that you can't make anywhere else.
Yeah. And one other thing, adding to what Katie said about booking your trips, is that this year you get the free admission to the water parks on the first day. I want to warn you, though, this could ruin you, that you probably will want to get the tickets every other time you go. But rather than just buying standalone tickets, you can actually get the add on to your base ticket of getting the water park admission added on to that. So there are
Yeah.
different categories
So
of the
water
tickets that
park
you
and
can go
more
to.
option. So
Hmm.
do one admission for each day that you have a ticket. So if you have 4 days, you get 4 admissions into you can either do the water parks, you can do if ESPN is open, there's lots of things that you can kind of experience and stuff like that. Those tickets are really great. You're not really spending that much more, especially with a hopper pass. You're not spending that much more to go ahead and add water parks. And honestly, the water parks are so great because really you can pop in for a couple of hours and pop out and feel like you've totally gotten your admissions worth about over it. and then you can go back and do something in the theme parks too. So much fun.
And especially if you're going during the summer, a lot of people like to take that midday pool break where they go back to their resort and swim a little bit. But if you go and you get that extra ticket, your pool break is at one of the water parks where you get to have all this fun of the stuff we just experienced that we were just talking about. I mean, imagine instead of just going back to your pool and swimming around a little bit, you get to go to Typhoon Lagoon and be in the wave pool for a few hours. And then you come back to the parks when you're a little bit cooled off and it's a little bit in the evening, so the temperature is down a little bit. It's not quite so crowded. So you're missing the busiest part of the day in the theme parks by hanging out in the water pool, which there's no line for the wave pool.
That's
So
right.
that's a nice thing. So if you have a destination or experience that you'd like to have us discuss on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, or if you'd like to share your favorite destination or have a travel tip, feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. If you're already working with a Dreams by Design travel advisor, please continue to work with him or her. Otherwise, Katie, how can people get a hold of you?
So my Facebook is Dreams by Design Travel with Katie. My Instagram is Katie Dreams by Design Travel. And my email address is katie@dreamsbydesigntravel.com.
For me, my social media, I'm at Matt with DBD on Facebook, X, and Instagram. My email is matt, M-A-T-T, at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. Website for our company is dreamsbydesigntravel.com. All of this information is in the show description, so if you'd like to contact us to book a trip or have questions, you know how to find us. You don't have to write it down now or have a photographic memory. Katie, as always, this was fun.
I am so excited for you guys' upcoming trip. I am excited to hear all about all of the fun adventures you have. I think that it is wonderful when we get to hear from each other about our great trips. And I also love it when I get to hear from my clients about the memories that they have made. And I know that you will agree with me, Matt, that we really do. We care about you guys. We want to make sure that you have a wonderful trip full of priceless memories because we know that when you are traveling, some of those memories are the things that you're going to talk about forever.
And that's kind of one of the other great things about being a travel advisor is that I know personally, whenever I plan a trip, there's so much fun in the excitement of planning. Oh, we get to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And then whenever you get done, you get to talk about it. Oh, we did this, and we did that, and we did the other thing. And whenever I'm a travel advisor, I get to go through that experience every time one of my clients books a trip of, oh, and you could do this. And what do you like to do? Oh, you like that stuff. Okay, here's the cool roller coaster. And oh, okay, you're a little more down, don't want to do anything too thrilling. But they have, Peter Pan's flight and It's a Small World is this and the Haunted Mansion. And we get to build them up as and talk about the different things that they can do on the trip. And then whenever they're done, they tell us all about it and we get to like relive it with them, which is really great.
Absolutely.
And I do want to add a bonus travel tip here. And this goes off what Katie said about having these memories. When you're at the water parks, cell phones and water don't mix. So what we did when this summer is we got one of those waterproof phone cases that lets you take the pictures and keep track of time and do your videos and everything, but keep your phone from getting destroyed. And we've taken these to Niagara Falls, and it survived the whole day at a couple water parks over the summer, and they're fabulous. That we have some great videos of my little girl on these water slides going down. That it's a priceless memory that you can share. That you don't have the ones that are in your head, but now you can actually share it and show to them and embarrass them whenever they get married and everything like that, or bring home their first date.
And I was going to mention too, if you purchase the Memory Maker, which is Disney's PhotoPass Memory Maker service, and depending on what time of year it is, if it's busier in the water parks, they also have PhotoPass photographers available. They'll give you like a little like card or a little, sometimes they have like a little like wristband with a little thing, little card on it that they can scan, and they'll take your pictures too. And Memory Maker is an easy thing to add to your package and something that's great so that the whole family is in a picture and together there. Because I honestly, like, I think about the souvenirs I've bought, and the best ones I have are the pictures and the memories of our trips together.
And a little note about the Memory Maker, if you buy it at least 3 days in advance, it is less expensive than if you buy it when you're actually there. So if you're thinking about it, go ahead and get it beforehand, because if you get to the park and then you have that FOMO of, oh no, we're not going to need these pictures, we have to buy it now, it's less expensive whenever you do it in
And
advance.
Disney's really, really good at taking some really great pictures that make you regret not making that purchase.
Oh, especially on the attractions. And
Yeah.
my wife and I, we know where the cameras are now, so we can play up to it. And we've done ones that were on like Splash Mountain, and we're going down the hill, and we just look completely bored. Or
No, and now it's Tiana's
yes,
Bayou.
Tiana's Now Bayou Adventure. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm looking forward to that too,
so
because that's
good.
my wife's second favorite attraction behind Tower of Terror.
So good. I wrote it in September. It's a good one.
So Katie's gonna hold that over me until I get to ride it. So all right. Please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend if you like what you heard. We'd like to get the word out to have as many people enjoy this as possible. Please join us next time. We're heading out that. We'll see you later.
Have a good night.